Today I'm going to be talking about the unexpected website formulas of the conversion scientist. Now these are the formulas that most of them come from my book. These aren't all of them, but I think that these are the ones that are going to be most unusual to you, or that are going to ultimately change the way you look at a website, because that's what we're looking for. We want to change the way we use our website from a big digital brochure to something that visitors can use to solve their problems. So I'm going to be presenting these 18 concepts, and I hope that they will shake the very foundations of your idea of a website. Obviously, I think these are going to make your website more successful, and in such, I think it's going to really piss off your competitors. Real quickly about me, I am a computer scientist by training. I have experience in technical sales, corporate marketing, and I've started a couple of companies along the way. And how you cram this stuff together into a normal title, I don't know, so I created my own. I call myself the Conversion Scientist, the founder of Conversion Sciences, which is my consulting company. I'm a national speaker. I am author of the book Your Customer Creation Equation. I hope everyone will run out and buy a copy. And obviously, I am a Labware fashion model. At Conversion Sciences, here's a little commercial about us. Our motto is don't think, no. We offer training, conversion catalyst consulting to help your organization become a conversion-oriented organization. We'll test PPC landing pages, test video, see how it converts, look at your analytics, make sure they're reporting correctly. Visitor personas, very powerful tool. And of course, we are feared by competitors across the internet. Here is where I borrow trust from our customers. This is a technique you should be using on your landing pages, by the way. The trust that our customers have invested in their logos can now be borrowed and make everybody think that, wow, we must really be good people because we have all these nice logos on one of our slides. All right, so enough about us. Please adjust your safety goggles and get ready for the unexpected formulas. Number one, your opinion doesn't matter. And I hope that you're going, what? Isn't it my website? Isn't it my business? I know my business. I know my website. What do you mean my opinion doesn't matter? Well, the truth of the matter is when you start saying things like everybody is, when you start saying things like, I think we really should, when you start saying things like, I really think we should, when you start saying things like everybody else is, well, what we've done here is done something that a lot of people do on their websites, and they use these rotating banners. And you see how it interrupted me. Okay, I was acting. But this also happens to the people that visit your site. And the problem is that everybody uses these rotating headers, these banners that every few seconds switch. And the thing is that every time we've tested this technique, it has lost. It has reduced conversion rates. Why do we think this happens? Because motion is very, very powerful. When the human eye detects motion, this brain interprets that as a potential danger, and so you have to look. Well, if I'm scanning your page to understand what your value proposition is, what your offerings are, what your products are, or trying to find that search box so I can solve a problem, the rotating banner becomes a big problem because it interrupts my scanning. This is why we think that this technique doesn't work. However, your designer has probably recommended this, or it has been recommended to you because, quite frankly, it's lazy marketing. We can't think of one value proposition that's going to appeal to our most important audience. Well, then let's just slide a whole bunch out there. You shoot yourself in the foot, and this is just one example where your opinion or the opinion of your designer could lead you astray. Now, if you're curious about what sort of alternatives to these sliding banners you could be using, here's an example. Here's a tabbed approach. Again, they have several different kinds of offers here, everything from statistical to very specific, like diabetes and dry mouth, very specific issues that visitors may be having. But there's no motion here to distract you, and I can scan this copy and understand what this website is about. So this is just one example of how your opinion can lead you astray. Unexpected formula number 2. Your visitors don't care about your products or your company. Now again, I hope you're saying, what? Wait a minute. Why would they come to our site? Why would they type in that search phrase and click on my ad if they weren't interested in my company or my products? What do you mean? Well, the truth of the matter is that they're interested in their problem. They're interested in solving their problem. They might become interested in your products or your company once they understand, A, what the problem is and what the potential solutions are, and B, how your product and company fits into that. But they're coming for a different reason other than to learn about you. The thing you want to avoid is wee-weeing all over yourself. So if you want to know if you're designing a website that appeals to your products and services as opposed to appealing to your visitors' problems, go in and count the number of times you use we or our or the name of your company in your headlines and in your copy. If it's a lot, you're probably wee-weeing all over yourself, talking too much about yourself. This is a term that the Eisenberg brothers coined, and it's a perfect example or perfect euphemism for copy and content that's all about you instead of about your visitors. Let me give you an example. I pick on these guys. Sorry, Graviton. They have changed their site since I did this, but it's just too precious not to continue to use. Here's some copy that they use on their site. Graviton offers on-demand performance management software and services for optimizing business processes, workforces, technologies, and other assets. Our innovative cloud-based solution puts executives in control of their business model, giving them unparalleled visibility, decision support, and organizational alignment. Now this all sounds really good, and maybe I'll be impressed. Some of us might be impressed by this sort of thing, but how often does a executive wake up in the middle of the night going, oh my God, organizational alignment just isn't right? They don't. They don't think in terms of these sorts of things. Pardon my problems with these slides. Here's another example. Products. Our on-demand software provides a best-of-breed solution. Best of breed, really? These are throwaway terms. These are things that your brain filters out because they're used so much to quickly drive performance information to the right people in an organization. Again, they're not really speaking to my problem. They're speaking to what they think the problem is or what their features are. Even their testimonials fall short. Graviton's forward-thinking solutions help to establish the next generation of business and IT within the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. People don't talk like that. We know some marketer wrote this, and their friend at the Texas Health and Human Services Commission said, okay, you can do that. They have improved, and they have tried some new things. Here's an example that I think is a little bit closer. Now, through a single unified user interface, design, order, provision, and control cloud services. All right, so that's speaking to a problem, thinking about moving to the cloud. How do I manage that? Unfortunately, they don't stop there. With the ability to modify decisions as needed to ensure the satisfaction of your IT goals. And then they added this little throwaway. This is the new IT. Do I really want the new IT? Really? Or do I want some help with my cloud management system? So if your site sounds like this, you are probably wee-weeing all over yourself. Unexpected formula number 3, your visitors will tell you exactly what to do. So if your opinion doesn't matter and people aren't interested in your products or your company, what do? Well, you watch them. We have an amazing set of tools that allow us to go in and see what people are doing on our website. And what they do tells us what they want. The pages that they visit tell us the pages that they're interested in that help solve their problems. And the pages that they abandon, that they leave, tell us the pages that aren't giving them what they want. So if you haven't got Google Analytics or some analytics software on your site, go ahead and add it, even if you're not going to be looking at it right now, because what it does is it stores a history of the way people use your website, and you can go back to that and ask people questions over time as you become more and more conversion oriented. I'll also offer this from the book. We have a conversion lab. If you go to www.myconversionlab.com, we feature a number of tools there that you can start using to understand how your visitors are using your website. Everything from the analytics package that I talked about to what we call click tracking software, which shows where people are clicking on your pages. You'd be amazed at what you'd learn there. We are also very happy with some of the things we've been learning from call tracking software. And I know that since logmycalls.com is sponsoring this, they're offering a special trial for you. We've recently put some call tracking software on a site for which calls are the bread and butter. And they had no idea where they were coming from. They had no idea what search terms were driving the calls. They didn't even know which pages were generating the calls. Once we understood this, we completely changed our direction and our hypotheses about what's going to make that site work better, and they are going to kick butt. So take advantage of this trial. If calls are important to your business, you are going to be amazed at what you'll learn from this and from these other tools. Unexpected formula number 4, conversion is about more than landing pages, buttons, forms, and shopping carts. We talk a lot about conversion rate optimization or website optimization in terms of what happens on a page, but your real power starts to come from considering conversion in a more ecosystem-oriented way. When you start thinking about how you can get traffic that's generated by search to your site, can store that traffic to generate leads, and then use email and social media and content to get people back to the site, you start to understand not only that increasing your conversion rate is important, but getting a number of times to try it is also important. The number of impressions you can get per person, per prospect, is really important. So when you look at conversion as a set of strategies as well as a set of tactics, you're going to become a lot more powerful on the internet. Number 5, every click is a promise that you must keep. Every click, if it's coming from an ad, if it's on your site, is an implied promise. When you say something as simple as learn more under one of your paragraphs, you're promising to give them more information about what you were just talking about. When you provide an ad that says get 10% off and you send them to the home page where they might be able to use navigation to find it, or maybe they'll see the banner, you're breaking the promise. You need to send them to a page that talks about the 10% off and then launches them off into the site to find the products that they might want to buy. Here's a great example. I go to Google and I type emergency plumber Austin. Imagine that I'm a 30-something woman. I have a leak under my sink and it is slowly destroying the new hardwood floors that I've put in. I am very interested in quickly understanding who can come and stop this leak as I watch my floors buckle. Here are the results that I got when I typed this in on this particular day, and yes, in the sponsored ads, there are a couple folks that are focusing on emergency services. This Roto-Rooter company has emergency service and emergency plumber services from the second one on the list there, best plumbing contractor. But when I click on these, what do I see? They've made the promise that I'm going to see something about emergency service, which is really what I want to see, but this is what the first place shows us. Call now, so they put the number there in big red letters, and it's also at the top. It says quick service, yes, okay, Austin Plumber, but they don't mention emergencies here at all. In fact, they spend time talking about a 10% off your first visit. I'm not that worried about the discount. I need to protect my very expensive wood floors. So this breaks the promise. It has the components. I can call. Hopefully they're available. What if it's the weekend? What if it's a holiday? None of those questions is answered. I'm more likely to click back and try the second one on the list. There we go, AAA Auger. These guys get it. No extra charge, weekends, holidays, or nights. Austin Plumbers, 24-hour emergency plumbing. And there's the phone number. These guys say emergency. And this keeps the promise of the ad based on my input keywords. This is what we all need to be doing with every click. Unexpected formula number 6, every change is an experiment. What you're looking here is a graph of traffic, visits. And each of these little icons here that looks like a word cloud, they are specific events. So the question we want to ask with a graph like this is, how are things that we're changing, each of these events is a change, how are they affecting the performance of my website? And this is a question that you should be asking too. Whether you're changing the design of your site or simply adding new content to a blog, you want to ask the question, how is this change affecting my business? And there are actually two questions that will complete this thought. Number one, ask yourself, when I make this change, what do I think will happen? Do I think there will be more visitors? Do I think I'll get more conversions? Will I get more comments? Whatever is important to your business or your website success, put it in terms of that. Will I make more money if I make this change? If so, how much? And the second question is, how will I know? How will I measure it? What will tell me that that specific change resulted in a particular increase in revenue, increase in visits, increase in conversions, increase in leads? Again, whatever is important to your business. If you see every change as an experiment and ask those two questions, you're going to make sure that you're putting the things in place that allow you to go back later and say, you know, that was a really good idea. Let's do some more of that. Here's an example from my blog, just of the topics of a few pages, a few blog posts that I did, and the conversion rate that came from those pages. So I look at this, and I see that in general, about 6% of the people are going to come to the homepage are going to become a subscriber to my blog by email. But I also see that landing pages, 23% conversion rate and a 60% conversion rate, are starting to look pretty good. Now, these are small numbers. They are not statistically valid, but I got a clue here that if I write more about landing pages at 10%, not 23%, write more about landing pages, I'm liable to see a little bit more success. Simple change. I just found a way to measure it, and I can act on it now. Unexpected formula number 7, specifics are the hallmark of conversion. Be specific. Let me show you a real quick test that'll drive the point home, I hope. This is SAP America, and they have an ad on this site for downloading the free valuable business intelligence briefs. They want people to go through and download this bit of information in exchange for contact information. Classic business-to-business lead generation. So they started through the...
Welcome to GoToWebinar, web events made easy.
Specific offering. How many of you guys wake up and think, oh man, I got to go out and find some valuable business intelligence briefs? I wonder if there's any webcasts out there I should watch. Now, what they tested this against was this, top 5 solutions.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, web events made easy.
These are very exciting titles. Most of you may not find them exciting, but I personally do. Reporting, information infrastructure. The bottom line is I'm going to drill down and click on a topic that I'm interested in, a problem I'm trying to solve, and quite honestly, I probably don't care that much if it's a webcast, intelligence brief, demo, etc. And of course, according to Which Test 1, this small change generated 24% more leads by being more specific. So where are you being high level and vague? Can you add specifics to your copy? Can you add specifics to your offers? I recommend that you do. Unexpected formula number 8, avoid business porn. This is an image that I found on iStockPhoto. I also found it on a business-to-business financial website, and I have seen it a number of other times. What is a financial website trying to say to me here? If you click through and read more of our website, you can be cool like us young, happy people? Are they trying to do something more base, like we want to appeal to your male urges? What is this about? Is this a person that works for the company? Is this the founder? Is this a happy customer? No, it's somebody they got off StockPhoto because their designer told them they needed an image. This is what I call business porn. Here it is on Hoovers. This is the homepage of Hoovers. They sell business information to salespeople. Who is this Barbie doll that's on the page? And more importantly, where is she looking? Why is she? Is she one of the founders? Is she a typical customer? Is she a salesperson looking for information? Is she smiling because she found something really great and she's going to get a high commission from it? What is this? Use this space and the power of images to carry the ball forward so that people understand more about what your business is up to. Let me show you a real basic example. But before I do this, here's another example. of folks that are using pretty girls with headsets on. Are these really the people I'm going to be talking to? And, business porn can be cross-gender girls. Does this appeal to you? Are you more likely to call a company like this? It turns out that both men and women respond positively to female images. Just a little bit of a tip. But who are you really getting when you call? If this is what's promised to you and you don't get that, what kind of an experience are you having? I say punt on the business porn and put some images that work. I love this. This is a little company here in Austin, and they sell a paint that has glass beads in it. And what happens when you paint it on a roof or paint it inside an attic, it reflects heat. And if you've ever been in Texas in the summer, you know heat is a big deal. So what they did is they got his niece, I think, to climb up on a hot tin roof in the middle of Texas summer. She's got a thermometer beside her that says 102 degrees. Any normal tin roof, she would be frying. You could hear the sizzling of her arms. But she's not. This communicates pretty darn clearly what their paint does. And it's certainly a lot more effective than A, showing a vat of the paint, or B, going to iStock Photo and finding a pretty face that hopefully will engage people to learn more about your paint. So what are you doing to come up with interesting, creative images? And is there any business porn on your site? Number 9, market research is a collection of hypotheses, not answers. So we talked about setting up your conversion lab, having some analytics on there. When you start to understand what's going on from a digital standpoint, you can start asking questions about what works and what doesn't. And going out and interviewing your customers, doing surveys, doing usertesting.com reviews where people use your site and they document audibly what they're trying to accomplish and what's getting in the way. It creates not a set of answers for you. You don't go out and say, oh, well, now we know all the things about our audience. Let's change our website accordingly. It's a set of hypotheses, and you should put things out and measure them, see if the experiment works. And if you become more sophisticated, you can start doing split testing, where you create 2 versions of a page and test one against the other. Market research is a collection of hypotheses, not answers. If you look at it that way, you'll start asking questions like, what should we change, and how will we know if this change is helping our business? Number 10, don't send your store-bought traffic to social networks. This is one I get a lot of pushback on because most consultants and gurus out there are going to tell you, yeah, you want to put social media icons on all of your pages. You want to be building that social media network. Well, the truth is that if you're really good at getting people from social media back to your website and turning them into leads and customers, they're absolutely right. You want to build as big a social media platform as you can. However, if you're paying for a click on pay-per-click, driving it to a landing page, and that landing page has Facebook and Twitter and YouTube on it, and you're asking someone to do something like fill out a form or even buy something, you're going to have a moment of pause and say, should I do this? And when they see this social media icon, they're going to go, I think I'll just go out and see what's going on Facebook. You've lost them. So you paid Google for the click, and then you sent the traffic off to Mark Zuckerberg. This is not a smart strategy. Save the social media icons for the thank you page after they've bought something, after they've completed the form. That's where you say, oh, thank you very much, and did you know you could join us on social media? Again, if you're good at getting social media traffic that converts, more power to you. The truth of the matter is that most of you don't. We haven't quite figured those things out yet. Unexpected formula number 11, the most important part of a design is the dollars it generates. My partner is fond of saying that our customers' accountants are the best conversion people in an organization because they know if the dollars are going up and down. They know that we're being successful as an organization in increasing conversion by the amount that we're selling. Whether you're generating leads or selling things online, this is true. So it's very important that we measure everything all the way back to business building objectives. And as you start to understand your analytics and you start to understand the percentages of your business, number of people that come, percentage of them that stick around on your site, percentage of those that find their way to a landing page or form or a purchase page, the number of those people that add to cart, the number of those people that purchase, and the number of the leads that your salespeople are able to convert into sales. Once you start to understand these percentages, you begin to understand how much a visit is worth in dollars. And this is our favorite metric, revenue per visit, or revenue per visitor if you prefer. We want to know if we get one more person to the site, does that generate 25 cents? Does it generate $1? Could we optimize the site, maybe have it generate 26 cents or $1.10? This is the goal of conversions, to build businesses. Here's an example of a design that shouldn't work, and I hope you guys are getting all of the motion and blinking and stuff that's going on this page. This page violates every design and conversion rule you could imagine. It's confusing, it's hard to scan, there's too much going on. I already told you about what happens when you introduce motion into a situation like this. This page shouldn't work. But Ling, the personality that put this up, generates tens of millions of pounds. This is a British site. Tens of millions of pounds of car rentals every year. She is kicking it. And it works for her because she is doing a lot of off-website promotion. So she's very colorful. You can see she's wearing a wig. She's got photo ops out on the talk shows and things where she's standing next to a missile launcher, talking about blowing up the competition and everything. She pulls in social media references, political references, so she's very fiery. And when I come to her website, I don't want to get a business website. I don't want to go to Orbitz. I've seen her on the web. I want to come and see a site that looks like this. So this is a situation where the design is wrong from every design advice you would ever take, but the dollars tell you that this is the right design for this particular business. So what is the design that generates the dollars for you? And could it surprise you when you find out? Unexpected formula number 12, store the attention you've paid for and use it again and again. So it's expensive to get traffic. If you're paying for pay-per-click ads, you're paying $1.50, $2, $5. If you're in the insurance industry, you're paying $55 for a click. If 10% of those turns into a lead, that's telling you you're paying $550 for a lead through pay-per-click. But even if you're just investing in organic, you're putting up content, you've hired some people to help you optimize your page titles, your metadata, your headlines, and the words that are found in your articles, you're still paying to get people to your website. If you're paying for banner ads out on the web, retargeting ads, or investing in email, all of them come with a cost. So when the people come to your site, why not try to store them with batteries? My favorite battery, of course, is the customer battery. This is the list of people who have bought from you. And whether they bought a lot from you or a little from you, they have gotten their credit card out and executed a transaction with you. These are your golden folks, and you should continue to market to them to get them back to the site. And even if there's a long time between purchases for you, you should continue to keep them engaged. So when that choice comes up again, they're thinking of you. Or when their neighbor decides to buy, they're thinking of you. Subscriber batteries. This is where you ask for a lead in exchange for some content by email. This is something that so many businesses overlook. There are people who just aren't ready to buy, but would sign up because they're interested in solving their problem, or they're interested in the category of what your business does. Why not go ahead and give them an opportunity to give you a name and an email address and send them some educational, helpful, or entertaining email on a regular basis? When they are ready to buy, who are they going to think of? They're going to think of whoever's been educating and entertaining them over the past few months. We'll talk a little bit about social media batteries. These are very easy to charge. It's pretty easy to get people to like you, but they discharge on a very unreliable basis. It's hard to get people back. Content marketing is a great way to exercise your social media batteries and hopefully get some of the charge out of them back to your site. And something new is the mobile batteries. As you're collecting text message information, asking for permission to text people, number one, you've got to be very careful about that because we're still sensitive about text messages. It's a private conversation, and we can't be sending promotional information across that channel, and some people are still paying for individual text messages. So, however, text messages have a 97% open rate. There's no other channel right now that has that kind of attention. So if you can get permission and act responsibly, text messages are a great way to charge battery and discharge potential sales from it. Apps is another avenue that you can look at, and it really depends on your business as to whether that becomes a valuable channel. Unfortunately, the app stores are the ones that get to keep the information on your customers. But if they're installing and using your app, that's a pretty good connection. Number 13, the most valuable use of a blog is as a content source. So people pretty much get the value of a blog. Even in corporate America, blogs are a big deal. They're great for SEO. They help you create content on a regular basis, and that is really the most valuable resource, because when you put content on a blog, it becomes available to other computers. And these are other computers that can post it onto social media for you. These are other computers that will automatically add it to the feed readers of our more technology-oriented folks. These are computers that will automatically format it and place it on an iPad so that people can read your content as well as other content like a digital magazine. And of course, as I've said before, it will take, the RSS feed allows services to read your content, place it into an email, and send that out to your readers so that they're getting a regular and consistent flow of educational information from you. Blogs are awesome. You can put video on them. You can put audio on them, text, infographics, big graphics, little graphics, pictures, SlideShare, SlideShare.net slide presentations. The blog is really very flexible, and the RSS feed allows it to erupt onto the internet so that the maximum number of people are seeing your content. If you'd like to learn more about how to do this, go to conversi.com/volcano, and you'll see how you can get a full presentation on that. Unexpected formula number 14, start at the end when designing your landing pages. So I assume that if you're on this, you understand what a landing page is. It is a single-minded page whose purpose is to keep a promise that you've kept and to get someone to take action. So you're looking right now at the simplest of landing pages. 50% off US dollars from the leading reseller. Click here. So if I click on this, I'm going to get 50% off dollars. That probably is a pretty strong value proposition. But of course, people are going to want to know more before they're going to click. So maybe we'll redesign this a little bit, let our designer in, and he'll create a headline and a call to action button. But of course, maybe we want to collect some information. Here we're asking for a credit card name. When we do this, we introduce a certain amount of friction, and we want to overcome that. So we'll add a little bit of copy to this. We'll add some trust symbols. The United States Mint, that logo's got to carry some weight, and some of the logos of our customers are here, plus little chiclets. This is not informational. This is not answering the question, do they accept Visa and MasterCard? This is actually borrowing the trust from these well-known brands, just like I did at the beginning of this presentation. So this is the direction you want to take your landing page. Rather than starting with the template that already has navigation, that already has your logo and your colors, things in the sidebars, start simple. This is a page that your designer can now take and format so that it really draws the eye to the important pieces, and there are no distractions on this page. This is the best way, in my opinion, to develop a landing page. Here's an example from Oracle. They provide all kinds of information here. It's good content, but they've got navigation, they've got side navigation, they've got ads on the side, and you really have to dig down to find the brochure and data sheets, which if I'm looking for brochure and data sheets and clicking on this, I'm probably a well-qualified customer. Why make me work so hard? Here's another example of Hoover's. Now they've stripped off navigation, and they've gotten rid of the side ads and sidebar navigations. This page is all about the product. Unfortunately, they add this background, which is distracting. And of course, you can see that they are willing to send their paid traffic off to Mark Zuckerberg. You can see the icons up in the corner there. Keep your landing pages simple. The best way to keep them simple is to start with a blank slate. Unexpected formula number 15, sometimes it's okay, even preferable, if visitors abandon you. There is good abandon and bad abandon. And abandon is when somebody adds something to the cart, clicks checkout, and then never completes the process. This is really a big deal for e-commerce sites, but it also applies to folks that are trying to generate leads on the site. So there's good abandon and there's bad abandon. Good abandon means they were going to abandon anyway. They needed to go into your site and understand a little bit about the process, but they're going to go check some other sites or something like that. Bad abandon is when they got surprised, you surprised them, or they didn't feel comfortable, they didn't feel they could trust you, or they were surprised by the price. This is bad abandonment. This is bad abandonment because you did something wrong with your cart. Forrester did a research understanding shopping cart abandonment in May of 2010, and they came up with 5 main reasons. Let's see if we can categorize these as good or bad. Shipping and handling costs were too high. Well, shipping and handling costs should have been addressed before they clicked checkout, right? They should have known what they were going to spend on your product. Most of us don't do that. We save shipping for the cart, and therefore people get surprised. This is bad abandonment. We want to answer these questions ahead of time so that they can make that assessment while we're building value with them. Number 2, the shopper wasn't ready to purchase the product. Some people have to abandon a few times in order to complete their process. It's just a part of their process. They're going to check you out. They're going to go into the carts for some of your competitors. It's good that they check you out. You want them to do that. So this is what we're going to call good abandonment. And we're talking about some strategies to follow up on this. The shopper wanted to compare prices on other sites. Again, they're shopping. Abandonment is a part of the process. We're glad that they came and considered us. Product price was higher than the shopper was willing to pay. This is bad abandonment. It means they were surprised by the price. Or it means that you forgot to continue to reinforce the sale and tell them why they thought this was a good idea. They had a couple shoes at $50 a piece, but when they go in, they see it's $100. They have to remember why that $100 is worth it. And our shopping carts need to work to do that. And 5, the shopper just wanted to save products to his or her cart for later consideration. This is good abandonment. They're using your site as a tool. Glad they came. We can support that. The way you turn good abandoners into return visits is with retargeting and remarketing. Retargeting is a way of advertising to people who've been to your site. In essence, your ads follow them around the internet. So they come to your site and they leave. When they're on CNN, they might see one of your ads and invite them back. Remarketing is when someone starts to fill out a form or a shopping cart process. They don't complete it. So you send them an email saying, hey, we saw that your shopping cart was left. We've saved it for you. Why don't you come back and consider buying again? Or you can offer them a discount. There are a number of technologies that allow us to do this, to capture the email address and send an email when somebody abandons. The bad abandoners, you just need to improve your shopping cart and avoid the mistakes that are outlined in detail in the book. Unexpected formula number 16, email is the biggest social network on the planet, bigger and more effective even than Facebook. There are billions of people on email. My 81-year-old grandmother friended me years ago by adding my email address to her contact list. We share pictures, we share videos, we share just about everything we can on social media. If you are investing in social media and you have not aced your email marketing strategy, I suggest that you go back and do that, especially if you're in a business-to-business environment. Business people check their email several times an hour. They use their inbox to direct their day. You want to be in their inbox. They're probably not spending as much time on social media, and if they are, they're not using social media to direct what they're going to do next in their day. Consider email before you invest heavily in social media. Unexpected formula number 17, the job of your homepage is to get people off of your homepage. The homepage is like a magazine cover. It's designed to get people inside. Don't use your homepage as an advertising platform. Use it as a way of telling people what's inside the site and get them into your site, get them engaged. The more time they spend on your site, the more of your conversion beacons they're going to see, the more of your offers they're going to see. And that means the more likely they are to take action on your site. Let's not make the website a big advertisement for your company and talk about you and your products and, God, putting press release news on your homepage. That's not going to get people in to help them solve a problem, which is really what your homepage needs to do. And finally, number 18, you will find your own surprises as you continue on this journey. So you don't have to believe everything I've said, but I think you should explore it. I think you should at least set up your conversion lab. You should put the tools in place that you need. If your calls are important to you, you should be using a service like logmycalls.com to understand what's going on, and then start applying your own hypotheses to your website and see what happens. You don't want to believe my unexpected formulas? Fine. But you're going to be surprised by what you learn and what your visitors tell you unequivocally about what they want from you and your business and your website. So there's more on this in my book, Your Customer Creation Equation. The blog is at customercreationequation.com. You will find the print and Kindle versions on Amazon.com. I invite you to go and check that out. I mentioned the Log My Calls free trial. And I'm going to turn it back over to McKay to talk more about this and to see what questions we've got.
Thank you, Brian. That was incredible information. We appreciate it. We're getting a few questions come in now. I do want to make these couple of announcements before we conclude. First, we have this free trial offer, and I do recommend people sign up for this. It's an offer exclusive to the webinar, so just go here and sign up. As Brian said, that's a great way to track your conversions as well. And I also
You're going to be amazed at what you learn.
No, it's incredible. It really is. And I also do want to mention next week's webinar. It's going to be a very good webinar, an appropriate webinar for those who are interested in content marketing. And we now know, based on Google's recent updates, that content marketing really is the key to SEO. And I think Brian can back me on this. It is sort of the crux of how we get Google to rank us effectively. And bad content versus good content can affect conversion rates dramatically and can affect overall marketing strategy. So I encourage you to come to next week's webinar as well. Now, I do want to, we do have a couple of questions for Brian, and I want to make sure we get to those. First question we have is one that's humorous, but maybe you hear some, Brian. Are you wearing the white lab coat right now?
I am. In fact, I tweeted a picture of me in the lab coat with the silver conversion microphone. So my handle is B Massey, and if you want to see a picture of me in the coat, there's the proof.
Great. Very good. And then we've got a couple of other real questions here I actually want to ask you. The first one is, do you have a recommended time that you should split test a landing page? Is there a recommended time or maybe a traffic volume before you can really arrive at a conclusion as to what works and what doesn't?
Yeah, we do use a couple of rules of thumb. We like to see a minimum of 100 conversions per treatment. So let's say you have one page that has a pink button on it and one page that has a red button on it. We want 100 conversions on that page and 100 conversions on the other page before we feel like we have statistical significance. Now, there's a caveat here. If you're dealing in a situation where you aren't able to generate a lot of traffic to a page, if you have red button and pink button pages, and one has gone for a minimum of 7 days, you want to make sure that you're collecting an entire week's worth of data. And if you have monthly cyclical, in other words, if you have spikes at the end of the month, go ahead and let it run for a full month. And one is like 200% ahead of the other one. You can assume, because it's such a large difference, that that page would be your new control. However, if you've let it run for that period of time and the difference between the two is only 10% or 20%, because there's low traffic, that percentage increase falls within the error. So you can't really rely on it. So if you're in a low traffic situation and you can generate a page that has a very large benefit, larger than the error range would be. And again, it's going to be 100%, 200% increase. You can go ahead and accept that page, provided that you let it run at least 7 days or the 30 days if you have a monthly cycle.
That's great. And then sort of a follow-up to that, what third-party tools or providers do you like in terms of tracking conversions and maybe A/B testing and things like that? Are there any tools you can recommend to us that would be useful?
Yeah, I think it depends on your situation. So um, if you have an enterprise solution and you are dealing with a very high volume website, the Test and Target tool from Adobe is awesome for split testing. It gives you a lot of capability for testing segments and things like that. If you're going to invest in a tool like that, though, you need someone with a great deal of time to devote to it to justify it. For those smaller businesses, if you want to test on your site, for instance, you're an e-commerce site and you want to be testing your category pages or your product pages, we use Convert.com, Convert Insights, which you'll find at Convert.com. We use Visual Website Optimizer, and so those allow you to test on your site. Now, if you want to do a test, for instance, you're doing ads and you want to drive them to landing pages and you don't want to deal with your IT folks, I can certainly recommend services like Unbounce.com, which allows you just to generate landing pages and then create copies of that so you can change one or two things and then it will report on it'll help split the traffic for you and report on which of those pages is converting the best. The other one that we use is Lander app. If you want to go and see a test that's running on Lander, landerapp.com. You can visit my site, and I think actually it's conversi.com /watch is the, I'm sorry, it's conversi.com /volcano, and you'll be able to see a page where we're doing a split test on video using Lander.
Great. That's good information, and I would recommend, like as you said, I think those are great tools as well.
Yeah, and all of these, by the way, are in the conversion. They're all in the Conversion Lab. So if you go to www.myconversionlab.com, we list them all, and the ones we like, we provide some opinion on what we like about it.
Great. And then two more questions, and we'll be done. First question is, you mentioned in terms of tracking conversions via the phone as well. You mentioned you found some interesting things out. We've, of course, done a lot of testing with that. Can you maybe summarize an interesting finding you had when you were doing some testing in terms of phone conversions?
Yeah, so one of the things that we wanted to be able to track was what regions were interesting. So this particular client it's a directory of service providers, and they want to understand what parts of the world people are calling from. And what we're looking for does it map onto population areas? So obviously, you're more likely to get people from Los Angeles and New York and Texas because those are the higher population states. But understanding the outliers, Arkansas, for some reason, Arkansas seems to be calling a lot. What's the opportunity there? Is there a service provider that's doing a lot of advertising there? The other thing we're very interested in is what people are looking for. So what keywords can we tie to successful calls? And when we know that, we know what to bid more on, and we can get more qualified traffic to the site. The other thing we're very interested in is which pages. So are people coming from the directory pages, where there's a listing of all of the directories near there? The search results page is really what it's called. So if I type in a zip code, I'll get a listing of all of the service providers near me. Is that getting people to call, or are they clicking through and calling from the product page? So the call tracking really assigns a unique phone number to the visitors, and then allows us to store some information about that person's visit along with that phone number, so that we can start to trace pages, keywords to successful calls and make much better decisions about where we need to be optimizing.
Very good. Great information. And then finally, you made a very generous offer. When people signed up for the webinar, they entered in to receive a copy of your book for free. Do you want to email the winner out as soon as this webinar is over? How do you want to take care of that, Brian?
Well, that's a good question. Yes, I mean, the sooner the better, I think. Yes, I think the sooner the better.
Great. So we'll get an email out that that notifies the winner of Brian's book. In addition, you'll be receiving an email tomorrow that will have information about how you can access these slides and how you can access the webinar. So with that, I want to thank Brian again. Brian, any last words before we conclude?
Last words is, my last words is that I talk about a lot of unexpected things here, talk about a lot of tools, and talk a lot about other things. The bottom line is that this stuff's fun. This stuff is fun to do. So as you start to get comfortable with these tools and learn some things about your visitors, you're going to have a lot more fun as a marketer or a business owner. So if nothing else, start checking this stuff out so you can have more fun.
Great. Good advice. Brian, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. And everyone, thank you for coming. We appreciate your time and your questions and your interest. So please sign up for next week's webinar. And in the interim, have a wonderful week. And thank you, Brian, once again.
Thank you.